Welcome to the Brush Hour podcast. We're super excited about our guest today. His name is Alex, the owner of Alex Paints over in Northeast Ohio. He was an ex-college football player, defensive end and tight end, a little bit of both, multi-purpose athlete. Has built the company from the ground up, starting it with, like he always likes to say, just a paintbrush and a bucket, and grown it to the big business that it is today, servicing Western Pennsylvania and Northeast Ohio. So Alex, how are you doing? Can you tell us a little bit about your business and how you get started?
First off, thanks, Mike, for having me on today. Yeah, so it started like any other, small business, start very small. I remember my first job with my 2011 Chevy Cruze and a ladder and a cut bucket, man, and painting pillars. And here we are with 9 guys, and a wonderful staff. So I couldn't be more proud and more happy of where we're at today.
So can you go into a little bit of like how you started getting into the painting industry in general, like not just like your first job, but also what even brought you into the industry? What kind of coursed you to get started into painting?
Well, the painting itself kind of happened by accident. It started off with drywall, which kind of goes hand in hand, but you know, it's sanding all day, full houses and stuff is not for the weak, man. So, um, it's a lot. It was taxing on your body. I mean, not saying painting isn't, but if you sanded a house compared to paint, anybody that's done that knows there's a huge difference, and it just wasn't working out for me. And I stumbled upon a great painter in our area from Diamanda's Painting, gave me a shot, and um, just learned from him, and kind of fell in love with what I do.
Man, that's awesome. It's really cool that you took it from just kind of learning and trying to find a job to starting doing your own. So where was the bridge between just working and making a living doing it to then bridging that into I'm going to start this and make my own company doing it?
Well, that also started kind of by accident as well. The original goal was to become an accountant. I do have an accounting degree from Youngstown State University, and I was doing side work to pay for college, and I was in my accounting class, and I was like, well, if I do what I like doing, making decent money, why can't I do it as a business? And it kind of all just started from there, and like everything snowballs, man. You start with one guy, then you get a helper, and next thing you know, the jobs are just getting a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger, and just kind of happened organically, kind of by I wouldn't say accident because there's no really accidents, but it just kind of happened. I think the slow but methodical way.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. So, kind of shifting gears a little bit, when you're going and getting jobs and you're trying to get clients, what is your ideal customer or like target market? Like, what are you looking for out of a customer to make it make sense to work with them?
The ideal customer is one that you have good communication with. Because it's a two-way street when it comes to doing business. That's why people take down payments and stuff because you want to be as committed as the customer's committed to you. Um, if they're not committed to you as much, then there's going to be lack of transparency. Um, you know, oh, I wanted this color. We talked about this color. You want somebody to be all, in with you too, because it's a big purchase. People, save money for this type of work, and you try to provide the best service for somebody who really wants it.
Hmm.
So that's kind
Yeah.
of who you want.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I think communication is key. I even think about in like my world for the marketing sense, like the clients that we have the best success with are the ones that are really good at communicating things like that, and we're able to get responses back quick of, hey, do we like this? Do we alter this? Things like that. And then the ones that
Yeah,
maybe it doesn't
definitely.
affect the results per se, but it's just harder to
Mhm.
get them going is the communication route. So that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. And I even look back at when
Oh,
my time
definitely.
in
It's
the
everything.
painting. Yeah, yeah. In my time in the painting industry, a lot of times it's like when you're working on jobs, I'm just working for a painting company. The clients that would communicate good and then just get out of the way and let the work happen, those are the best ones because they trust the
It just makes it
process.
so much easier on everyone. It makes
Hmm.
it easier for the from top down, from the top guy, the lead who's in charge, all the way to who's ever sweeping up the floors at the end of the day. Like everyone's important, but we all need that communication from customer down, just so we're all on the same page. It makes things go a lot quicker.
100%, dude. So kind of we talked about your ideal customer. Now let's go into the perspective of how do you get that? Like currently right now, what are you doing? What's your marketing mix? What's working for you to get customers and what's your marketing look like?
Marketing is a bunch of things. There's different for me, how I look at it, there's different categories for marketing. There's, hey, I need leads. There's, I need to build brand awareness. Then there's brand recognition. So there's multiple categories, and it's just all, you got to try to hit all of them at the same point. But back to your question of how you're getting them, the the meta ads you run for me are wonderful and everything like that. But those are like that's like the cherry on top. Once you get those clients, because we've been with your system for how many months now? Do you remember?
Just under a year.
Yeah. And the beauty about what we do is you could see what we do. You get those people that we get the job from the meta. Well, they have a friend that needs painted. Then that turns into a referral. So it all stems from somewhere. So it's not just meta. It's not just, referral. It's a snowball effect. Oh, they were from meta, they referred a friend, and then they referred a friend. You know what I mean? Or, hey, my friend saw you on Facebook. So it could be the opposite way. You know what I mean? So it's really, you could gauge it mathematically, but it's just so more complex than just this number, this number. Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. And we hear that a lot with like the downstream effects of what you're talking about. One great example was we had a client late last year. They got a job from the Meta ads. And one thing we always say is like get yard signs, put yard signs in houses. Like that is the best thing to do because all neighbors all like to compete with each other. This guy just got his
Mhm,
exterior done. I want to get my exterior done. Or he's getting his inside redone. I want to as well, right? So they
mhm.
get the yard sign in there. Well, this dude gets the yard sign in. Again, just one job in this neighborhood for Meta. And that turned into four jobs from the yard sign, but that yard sign came from Meta. So like that starts it. And you're gonna get if you only did that and got no referrals, you're gonna do good, you're gonna make some money. But that plus the downstream effects that come from it are just exponential.
But that's also ties into, quality of work too. You need to
Yeah.
be putting out a good product. So you can have the best marketer in the world. You can have all the tools and all the stuff behind the scenes. But if you're putting out a really, really crappy product, then what do you really have? You have a good marketing team. That's why we're really proud of what we have going on here. We got a great, solid group of guys that, we wouldn't be where we're at today without them. And that's what makes this thing go. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Um,
100%. Like
yeah. So
you can't market something that is a poor product or poor service.
no.
So it like what we love working with you is we know that anytime we come out and film, it's going to be great work and putting that on display is easy for us because everything you guys do is
Yeah.
attention to detail, super technical in the way you're supposed to be painting it, and then the end result's amazing. It's so easy to get clients to do testimonials for you because you do
Mhm.
such an amazing job. And then something that I think isn't harped on enough in kind of the service businesses, your communication with the client and the relationships you build. Every single time that we have our camera guy come out to the shoot to do something for you, all we hear about is how, oh, Alex is amazing, his crew's so nice, man, they're great this way. They just talk about how like much fun they have with you during the process,
Yeah.
which a lot of times people don't love getting their home done because it's their home, there's people there. They almost are like,
That's
oh,
true.
we're sad to see you go because they had so much fun
Mhm.
with you. So I think that part of what you do is amazing too.
Harping on one of that, actually, one of our clients that we did that kitchen that you filmed and produced, she actually called one of our guys back to do some more tile work. And it comes down to, does it really need done, or does she just want to have someone to talk to and like another, bring it back and more, you know what I mean? That's really what it comes down to. And we try to make it as friendly, but we, at the end of the day, we know nobody wants us in their home for too often.
Yeah.
So when we work, it's almost like a football game. Like once you step in that door, like it's let's work,
Yeah,
and
it's game on.
it's game on, man. But you also know you got to take it not too serious at times, like maybe a few jokes here and there, but also be conscious of like your surroundings as well. Like be professional, time and place for everything. I mean, I've harped on that with my guys before. Just time and place, like know your surroundings, and be
Mm.
cognizant of that.
Oh
So
no, dude, that's huge, and it just speaks volumes about you and your company and the guys that you have. So still on the marketing note, is there one channel of marketing kind of over the past year since you started that you're like, this really isn't working well. We had to cut that off, or what's something that maybe wasn't good that you had to turn off or stop doing as much?
mm, it's a good question. I would say from the marketing standpoint,
Yeah, whether it's like
maybe,
flyers or anything like that.
yeah, I would say flyers or like those little door hangers. I mean, I purchased some, but it just doesn't. I think people just see it as like, oh, they put it with their junk mail when they get home. So I would say flyers and that stuff. Newspaper is making a comeback. In this past week, I've actually had 3 calls from a newspaper.
No
It's
way.
sneakily making a comeback, but at the end of the day, I still think this generation and even like the generation above us that are getting older
Mhm.
all use Facebook and Instagram. Like it's still that's not going anywhere.
Well, and
You know what I
that's
mean?
something you guys have done a good job of is becoming we call it omnipresent online, where they see you on Instagram, they see you on Facebook, they see you in the newspaper, they see you the signs, they see you on the billboard, the yard signs, everything like that. And then they may have saw you 3 times on Meta and then saw the thing, then finally called you. And that's not a Meta lead, but it was from that. Or they may have seen the billboard and the yard sign and then saw the Meta lead, then fill out the lead form. But like you're everywhere and your brand is so recognizable now in your city. You're the most well known, you're the most trusted in your area. So now these leads come from everywhere. Now maybe they saw you on all those things, they're flipping through the newspaper. All right, I got to call this guy. I've seen him everywhere now.
Yeah.
So
I
you've done
mean,
such a good job becoming omnipresent.
and like we talked about earlier, like there's different advertising for different purposes.
Hmm.
Like the billboards was the main one was the trust thing because you hear a lot of people. Like we had a lady this winter. 4 painters came to her house prior. 3 of them quit. Took the down payment, left the paint, quit. That's not
Wow.
very trustworthy. They
No.
weren't a full company. So I think the billboards, what in my mind and what my vision for that billboard was to build, trustworthiness. You're not going to put your face on a billboard and, be shady in that type of way.
Hmm.
Um, at least in my perspective, like how could you do that? You know what I mean? You couldn't plaster your face and not be trustworthy. It just really doesn't go hand in hand. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And that's the thing too with like your social media, the way you've been using it and kind of using the North Star system help you push that out there is you're not just showing your face, you're also showing your work and the before and after and the process
Yeah.
and the durings and there's like if you weren't a good painter, it would be so evident now. But because you do good work, you're able to showcase that and it just builds the trustworthiness, one, and then our other staple is become the most well known. And when you
No,
mix those
100%.
two together, you become the go-to guy in town.
And the nice thing about the meta ads, it just pushes it out there. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like obviously there's a small circle, but that big circle of the bigger areas, that's where the meta ads really come into play. Like, hey, I seen you down the road, or hey, I heard you're in this area.
Yeah.
That's where it really comes into play.
Yeah. No, that dude, and I think you're spot on there. Something that is really interesting to me too is the way in which your team kind of interacts with each other and how well they
Yeah,
mesh. And it's such a family environment. Can you touch on a little bit of how you've been able to build that culture with the painters under you and have the success
yeah,
of having them for such a long time and retaining really talent under you?
absolutely. So everybody has strengths and weaknesses. I have strengths and weaknesses. Everybody does. So what you do is you pair people with good strengths together and people with good, and good, they vibe well. And, when you're doing it for so long every day, you kind of know what the next person move is. It's almost like, a basketball game. You know if this person's going to make a cut, you know who's going where. And it's just when you have the good crew together that's been doing it for, every day for a few years, and it's almost like poetry in motion, like watching people get a house done and they're like, it's that quick. Then they look around to see if there's anything wrong. It's like we do this every day. We know what this person's next move is going to be. We know what this person needs.
Mhm.
Um, it really comes down to uh, trying to think of the word.
The culture you've built, though, I think is impressive.
Yeah, in a way, it's a culture. Yeah, it's like
Mhm.
you know what to expect. You know what the next person expects. You know what this person might need a helping hand on. and it really comes down to getting to know them too, like, more
Yeah.
than just as a painter, which
Mhm.
helps in different situations. Because some situations it gets sticky. Exterior season, who's good with getting up high, who's comfortable doing what. You try to put people in the best situations, but obviously we're in a industry where not everything is just so fixed. There's so many variables that you have to consider. Who's going where logistically, pairing the right person with someone, like we said, with team chemistry. Um, and sometimes you have to split that up depending on the job.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
so that, but yeah, no, everybody pretty much gels well, really, together with everyone. So, which I'm blessed and fortunate to have as a good crew.
Oh yeah, and I think you really have a lot of responsibility in the way you've built the culture, though. It's not like just like, oh, we hired guys and it worked out. Like you've been really serious about it, and even in our prep before the podcast on the phone call, you talked about how last night you guys have a job a little bit a ways, and hey, I'm gonna take them out to a nice Italian restaurant and get everyone dinner. Like those little things add up, and like it builds that
Yeah,
relationship equity amongst each other where
yeah,
it's not just, oh, that's a guy I work with. It's like, dude, yeah, I want to hang out with him outside of work. I want to go eat
yeah. I
with him.
mean,
I
that's
want to.
just yeah. I mean, we're all cool. Like it's just like we said. Like when it's time to work, it's time to work. But the second work's done, like, hey, you want to go out to eat? You want to go, grab a drink? Like, what's going on? Like, do you see that game last night? You know what I mean? It's just
Mhm.
that type of environment. That's what you want. I mean, that's I think a good work environment to have. I mean, you don't want to come into work and like, you know, not like the person you're next to. I mean, obviously it's work. Sometimes it's going to be, um, um, what is that? Like, there's going to be that.
Yeah, you're at work at the end of the
Trying to
day.
think of the word. It's just some people don't gel. Some people don't gel. Some people do gel. I mean, it's just I think we all gel here pretty well, and it makes for a good work environment, which we
Mhm.
can emulate that to the customers. I mean, obviously things get a little hot and a little flustered at times, but at the end of the day, we just do our job and just go home. That's just
Something
really what it
that,
comes down to, and I think that's what gives us our best product.
yeah, and something I know that you've talked on a lot with me, just kind of privately, and is how you take care of your guys. And you'll spend money, and you see a lot of guy owners
Yeah.
that will try to save as much money as possible or cut corners, or not. Well, I don't want to spend. I don't want to buy them lunch there. I don't want to take them out to dinner. I want to, and that you see. I talked about it a little on the last episode too, of like diminishing returns. It just
Mhm.
slowly diminishing over time, and that's that culture diminishing. That's the trust from the employee to the owner. So how beneficial has it been for you to go and buy them waters when it's really hot out, or go and buy them food, or go and buy them stuff, and just really just take care of your guys like their family? How much has that helped your company grow and help the culture over
I
time?
mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you won't be where you're at without them. Not one single person could do all that work. You know what I mean? So if it's, hey, go $20, if it's a Thursday night, and what's it going to hurt someone to give someone $20 for working extra hard? Hey, I seen you really busting your ass. Here's an extra 50, or go take your girl out to get dinner, or random cash app every now and then. I mean, obviously, if you do it too much, then you're defeating the point of growing a business, because it'll kind of hurt you, but you could do what you can with what you have,
Hmm.
if that makes sense. Um, you can't if you don't take care of yourself, you can't expect to take care of others. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you can't squeeze lemonade from no lemon. You got to
Yeah.
have something there. So at the end of the day, it's still work. You're still getting paid, but it's just a little nice gesture. Hey, go get dinner. Hey, here's an extra. You did great this week. Here's $50, just on top cash. Just go spend it.
Yeah.
Um, Dinners and stuff like that, especially when you're away. Um, Always making sure the guys have extra money to
Yeah.
for food, especially, and stuff like that, to just show you care and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, we wouldn't be where we're at without them.
Yeah, 100%. And you just see that in the culture that you've built there, like that they really feel taken care of. So, I guess kind of shifting gears a little bit here. What kind of what I guess what ways are you using social media that have you seen had the biggest impacts on your company?
Um, Ways I use social media. Well, I have a great team that manages my social media. I'm not gonna lie to you. You guys do a great job at managing Instagrams, Facebook, letting me, because as you know, we have a busy schedule with meeting clients and people, organizing the jobs, making sure, trying to make sure everyone has what they need. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts to this. And so I think a good, marketing team with North Star doesn't get better than that, man, because one man can't do it all.
Hmm.
You can't. So I really do appreciate the marketing team that handles the Instagrams and the Facebook metas and stuff like that. They do pretty much take care of that stuff. So I
Hmm.
think that's the best,
Yeah. And so
like you
something
said,
that,
what I've seen the biggest. Yeah. I mean, you've
mhm.
seen when we first started, I didn't have a team, and I didn't have a marketing team, and Facebook's and Instagrams were getting maybe 100 views a post.
Yeah.
It wasn't doing what it is today. When you see, wow, this actually has 130,000 views. That's crazy. Even though it's been like 2 months, it's still, I would not have gotten that in a year with the other system I had, because I was doing it myself and I didn't know what I was doing. So you
Hmm.
guys at North Star really made it very easy to
Yeah.
work with.
Well, and that's the thing too, right? You have some companies out there just want to get you views, and it's like for us, we don't really care about views as much as we care about views that are in your target area. We only want people seeing that can
That's
actually buy
correct.
your
Yeah.
product. So I think that's been cool too to
Yeah.
see how the before and after of okay, here's it being self-managed by a painter, here's it now with a marketing agency doing it for you. And the biggest thing too is like you're a painter, you're running jobs, you're calling clients, you're going to job sites, getting guys paint, you're then going to paint yourself, you're getting a crew here and then getting another job started the next day. And you have all these things going
It's a
on.
lot of moving parts.
Yeah, like you don't have time to then go be a social media guy too. So
Yeah.
it's been cool to see how just adding that in has supercharged your business. And so I guess it kind of leads me to the next question of where were you at like revenue wise maybe before us and now where you at after using us for a while?
Last year we did roughly well, before our first year in business, probably around 350,
Hmm.
probably roughly last year.
Yeah.
Well, the year before, yeah, 350, because we've been in business too. So yeah, 20, yeah, you would say mid 2024 to 2025. It was about three something,
Yeah. And then where
350 or
where
something
would
like
you
that.
say you're going to be on pace for by the end of this year?
On pace for by the end of this year, probably about 1.9
Dang, man.
by the
So
end of this year. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been,
so
yeah, we've also, it's been great marketing, but we've also been blessed with some great jobs.
mhm.
Um, some dealerships, a couple assisted livings, one we completed and one we have coming up. Um, coming up to Cleveland, doing some work in some really premium homes, helps with that, and just doing quality work, even from just doing awnings. You got to be on the ball. I mean, money. What I've told people in the industry and people around, money is kind of a byproduct. It's kind of what you get. It's like the end of the equation. If you're not putting in the work, you're not putting out a good product. You don't have good communication. Well, then that's not going to equal the money. So that's just kind of a byproduct, and it's a good it's the money, it's a lot of it's been reinvested back into the business. I
Mhm.
think that's a huge thing. um I mean, people see that number and their eyes pop up. Wow, it is good. It's a measuring stick
Oh yeah,
of
100%. And well, just
success.
to see that you guys have gone from 350 to 1.9, that's a over a 5x growth in your business in 18 months to 2 years. Like
Yeah.
that speaks volumes and it's been cool that we've been able to see that from the beginning and now to where you're
Yeah,
going
no,
now and be a
100%.
part of that process. But
Listen, I'm not knocking anything on that number. It's more showing we're doing well. We have great systems. I think we have the best systems in place with management, job site supervision. I couldn't ask for a better supervisor. We're on the ball, um, and knowing where everyone's at. Because, like I said, I can't even paint everything myself, and I can't see every little nook and cranny of the house. So giving that up was hard, but you got to have trust in your guys to get to that 1.9 or wherever that number will actually be at the end of the year. Maybe a little less, maybe more, maybe we'll go over two, but that's all on the product we put out. If you don't have, like I said, if you don't have a good product, you don't have a good service, you don't have good communication, you don't have that number. So that's just the byproducts.
No, and that's a testament to you and your leadership and just kind of your vision for the company. But that's amazing though. That's really such a cool story of where you started and the kind of where we've gotten to over the past year and the growth, and there obviously so much room for more growth and you hiring more
Oh
people.
yeah.
So it's cool to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the hiring is huge these days. I mean, it's trying to find, like, honestly, if I would have to say one big struggle on, why we couldn't hit that goal is just hiring quality um painters. We've tried hired laborers, but it's painting isn't an industry where you could just plug and go.
Hmm.
I'm not knocking any other industry either, but it's not it's a time based. You gotta really learn the trade
Hmm.
and patience. I struggle. To this day, I struggle with patience. I'm not gonna lie to you. I struggle with patience to this day, and sometimes, because I'm not painting as much as I used to, so sometimes I forget how much it actually goes in, and I kind of get reminded when I'm working on the jobs. Just I just need to slow down. I mean, even today, there's times I just need to, like, take a deep breath and then just focus on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's just not an industry where you can just plug and go.
Hmm. Yeah, you
Um,
gotta get people that are specialized in the field and
Yeah,
honestly
either
something
that come
that
specialized, which is nice, or try to teach them on the job. But I mean,
say something that
it's
I know
it's
early on that you were doing that really you've seen pay dividends for you is I remember your process and the way you were teaching guys that really didn't have painting experience. And I look at those guys now and they're some of the best painters I see. And
yeah,
when we have the durings and the afters and their cut lines are so clean and just the way that you've trained them yourself when you didn't have the option to hire someone that had pre-existing experience, that's been really cool to see too of like your
yeah,
process on teaching.
yeah. And you learn something new every day, man. Like, I'm not even saying I've seen a lot, and every time I think I've seen it all, I see something else. You know what I mean? So it doesn't end there. I mean, and these guys are very knowledgeable about paint. They go home and they'll even get their own tools sometimes. Like, they know what to do, the techniques and all this stuff. And but when it comes to paint and products, like you that's another thing I want to harp on is when you're finding a painter, there's people, I tell customers this all the time. It's not a secret. There's people that know how to paint, and then there's painters. The people know how to paint will know how to, okay, put this on that wall. Like, what is that? Are you using the right type of paint? Are you, is
Hmm.
it going to stick? Is it going to hold? Is it, you know what I mean? When it comes down to being a professional painter, you need to know, okay, well, is this water, oil? Um, does this need shellac to prime? Like, what's going to stick to what? When it comes into spring, what tip size? Like, there's, like I said, painters and people know how to paint. And I think with my knowledge of paint and knowing what products go where well together really helps them too, because they know the techniques very well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense. Like,
No, it makes a lot of sense because like I think about when I used to paint myself, the amount of time it took when you had a non-knowledgeable painter where it's like, oh well, like you could be say, hey, Mike, go and get this. We gotta get that wall this. Well, I know what sheen I need to use. I know how I need to prep it, what needs to be sanded,
mhm.
whatever it is, right? But then when it's someone who doesn't know what they're doing or they're new, well now instead of just saying, hey, you're in that room, you know what to do, go and do it, they're like, all right, well, okay, how do I get this prepared? How do I prep this? Now you waste a half an hour to an hour of your 8 hour day just trying to get them going
Mhm.
before they even start. So
That's
to your
true, man.
point, yeah,
It's almost like a foreign language. If I'm like, hey man, you need an 80 grit sander with a 3/4 inch mini roller, and grab a trough bucket and a lot. You know what I mean? It's just,
yeah,
hey, yeah, go grab the ceiling paint, go grab the super paint flat. You know what I mean? It's just, if it takes time. Like I said, everything takes time.
yeah,
And like I said, like, there's being the technician and there's being the person with the knowledge of the paint and stuff like that. When you have a great mix of, and then even being questioned sometimes, like, when you get to a bigger level in painting, I'm not saying I'm not the biggest painting company or not even close to the biggest, but when you have multiple jobs going on, it's easy to get sometimes the paint mixed up. Oh, this person wanted a matte instead of an eggshell. Well,
hmm,
that's where I need to be on the ball. Like, very similar sheens, but it's a little off. That's the kind of stuff I need to remember behind the scenes, and um I tell myself this sometimes, when I'm like relaxed now, but it's like sometimes you need to slow down to go forward. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
You
Yeah.
go too fast, you put the wrong sheen on, well, you're going back to put the right one on, so sometimes it's you just gotta, take a deep breath. And I struggle with this, on the daily because you've known me for a while. You know how things can get, and good help is hard, but I think we got some great help around here. So
Oh, you guys have
that's what
one
makes
of
it
you
easier.
guys have one of the best groups I've seen, man. You guys are a well-oiled machine over there at Alex Paints,
We
man.
like to think so. We'd
Yeah.
like to think so, man. So we appreciate that too. It doesn't go unnoticed.
So yeah, 100%. So kind of in wrapping up here, what are if someone was starting a painting business now or an owner of one and they're trying to get to the next level, what would your advice be to them right now? If they're at that $350,000 mark and they're trying to get to the $1 million mark, like what is that piece of advice you'd give them?
Take your time. It'll come. Do it the right way. Do it organically. You know, um, there's a lot of ways to take shortcuts in this business, which sometimes it's wow. It looks you in the eye, and you're like, wow, you could do this and get paid, and maybe we do, one code, maybe two codes, but you just got to do what's right for the customer.
Yeah.
There's sometimes it looks clean, and it's easy. A lot of times you could take shortcuts, so you just can't. Sometimes, you know what I mean. You
Hmm.
can't just spray something that isn't ready to be sprayed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if it needs cleaned off, and sometimes it slips through the cracks though. Sometimes it's an honest mistake. Sometimes you're like, wow, I forgot. But always have, I think, the best intentions. Like never be, out for money because that's a quick way to go completely backwards
Oh
in
yeah.
this business.
Hmm.
And it all falls back to it's a byproduct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The money's a byproduct of your good service. So that person getting to that 1 million, if they want to hit 1 million, just it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a grind. It's going to be a process, a lot of sleepless nights. But like I said, if you're willing to put in the work, then there's no reason that you can't obtain it. But you can never do it yourself. No matter if someone says they did it all by themselves, that's the biggest lie they told themselves, which is pretty scary to do. Never,
Yeah.
don't lie to yourself. So
Yeah, well, something that you
that's
you
pretty much.
touched on too is doing it the right way, right? Having good intentions and trying to do right by your customer. And honestly, you earlier on in the podcast when you talked about how you have the meta ads that will get you a lead, but then that one lead turns into three referrals, and then that referral refers someone
Mhm.
else. Like, but that doesn't happen if you don't go in with the right intention, if you don't try and
Yeah.
put the customer first, if you don't say, then we could probably get away with one coat here. Let's throw on two to be safe because we want to make sure this lasts for them.
Mhm.
Like doing all those things. Well, now you have your lead system that you have leads when you need them, when you and like you can kind of trust when they're going to come in. But now you also have all these other referrals that are coming from that because you did things the right way.
100%.
And again, the diminishing returns talked about before. You don't do things the right way, you slowly that brand starts to get
Mhm.
talked about in a bad light on the Facebook groups, on the Next Door Neighbor app, like those things. But now you have people on Next Door Neighbor. Man, Alex Paints is awesome. They really took care of me. They're so nice. They came out and did extra work for free just to touch something up because I wasn't sure how I felt about it. Or in
Yeah.
the Facebook groups, right? You know, those get like the Boardman Talk, right? Well, hey, Alex Paints is great because you do things the right way. So I think that's super important as well.
And then that's true. That's 110% true. Doing things the right way. And another thing to get to that, like you said, I kind of want to think about it now. There's a fine line of doing something extra that won't hurt you. Like for that kid that wants to get $1 million in his for his revenue for the year or whatever, you can't do things for free just because they're being nice or something like that.
Yeah.
Like for instance, last year we were staining a barn and he was like, "Well, there's the pergola, there's the boating dock and the pergola. You have your sprayer out, and you have everything out. Can you just hit it real quick?" Well, his idea of real quick and the reality of things, it was going to take me another day to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, sir, it would be this amount." And he's like, "Oh, just never mind." Like stuff like that. You got to put your foot down somewhere. You can't be walked over in business because then when word gets out, oh, they'll come out to do this and then they'll do this for free.
Mm.
And then you got to pick and choose your battles with that. That's a
Yeah.
fine line to walk. Um, know the size of the job. Like if it's a huge job and they're like, "Hey, can we just hit this one door?" Sure. But if it's a two-bedroom house and that's all you're painting, and they're like, "Hey, I mean, you're already here. Can you paint this extra room?" Well, okay. Well, here's yes, but here's the quote. You know what I mean? There's fine lines,
Yeah.
because you don't want to be walked over either,
Oh,
but
$100%.
you also want to do, you know, an extra, yeah, we'll hit this door one time. Yeah, sure.
Mhm. Yeah, because
We'll just
you
hit
have
it.
margins too, right? Like if you have a really small interior job that might just be a $2,000 job, well, you have your margins, you have your guys you got to pay, you got
On
the
the average $2,000 job, I probably make probably a couple $100.
yeah. So if you add a
Me,
bedroom, now
yeah.
you
So
lose money. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? So you
100%.
can't just do that, and that's where it's like, oh yeah, we'll touch that up for you, man. We'll fix that if you don't like how that was cut. Yeah, 100%. But then it's like understanding when to say no. Like, oh no, we can't do another wall or another room. Like that's gonna
100%
take
because
man hours and equipment and product and paint. Like it's just you can't do that.
when you get to, not saying I'm the biggest, or like I said earlier, we're not the biggest or whatnot, but when you have, like we said, we talked about our systems, when you have insurance, marketing, you know, vans, um,
Payroll tax.
payroll tax, workman's comp. Before I even get to your door, I'm probably spending a couple $1,000s.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just where it comes down to, especially with gas these days. I mean, 4.90 outside today. At what is this day? It's April 30th. 4.95 for gas. That goes into it too. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So, I mean, it's not. Then they ask, why is paint so expensive? Well, if you go pick up there's cheap paint and there's bad paint. There's watered down paint. We use Sherwin. Great. People ask, why do you use Sherwin? Yes, they have a good product, but so does Benjamin Moore. So does, Valspar. Not so much Bear, not so much. PBG has a good product, but what sets Sherwin apart is their customer service. If something's not right, they're sending someone out to look at the job.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And if it's not right, they'll refund me the paint and give
Yeah.
me some. And if it's really not right, they'll actually refund me some labor hours. That's why I use Sherwin too. Not just because the paint. It's easy for someone to say the paint's good. You know what I mean? But why is the paint good? Do they have enough of the? Is it low VOC? Is it the? Um, it's drawn as tip of my tongue. Like there's powder that you put into the paint actually that what makes it hide. Like I don't know if you knew this. Like it's just like there's special form. It's something called with a T in it. It's a weird name, but they have it's better there than it is in Bear. So
Hmm.
that's another reason why I use them.
Oh, 100%. And again, that's why you guys do as well you do. So, all right, kind of in closing here, is there any other additional wisdom or nuggets or insight or advice that you'd like to share?
About painting life,
Painting, building a business, life, man, football, whatever you want.
do what you want to do, man, because life is short. I was like I said, I was 20 because I went to college, went out of college. I was in that. What do I do? You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I think I really speak well to this because I was in that. What do you do moment?
Hmm.
Pushing 24, just haven't even graduated college yet, and the day before I was doing trim on my knees on a hardwood floor. I'm like, man, this sucks. But then I was in accounting class. I was like, I don't like this either. It's kind
This
of
sucks more.
pick this sucks more. It's like kind of pick less of the two, but I fell in love with it, man. It's I don't yes, it's hard work, but I feel like I don't work a day in my life. It's like where did the time go? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just, and then seeing the customer's face when something changes and having them feel. I had one of my supervisor made the lady feel the walls, like the difference in sanding the walls and not sanding the walls because we did one and we the other one and they were perpendicular. So she felt both at the same time and she was like, "Oh my god," you know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
little stuff like that kind of makes your day and it kind of sticks with you. So
Mhm. Oh, and so we just did a testimony for you, or testimony was coming out next, but we did the before and after the interior
yeah,
kitchen, full remodel actually. And dude,
yeah,
just like seeing her, her glow and just how happy she was with like
yeah.
something you did, like that's gonna just feel so good and just really make it worth it.
Sticks with you, man.
Hmm. Heck yeah.
Sticks, man.
Well, dude, really appreciate you on the podcast. It's really cool to hear your journey, your story, even the in between, and I'm sure
Yeah.
that could help someone kind of figure out what to do. So thanks so much for your time. This is Alex Paints on the podcast. One of our clients. He's awesome. So if you're in Northeast Ohio, West PA, give him a call. And
I'm
this
on
has
it.
been the Brush Hour Podcast. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time.